It's a very good afternoon to all of you. So, today we are going to learn about operating systems and its functions. So, before learning the definition of operating system, firstly we must know the definition of softwares. Softwares, what is softwares? Why we use softwares? What is the need of operating system? Okay, so software is a set of various programs which are used to operate computers and related devices. Softwares are designed to achieve a specific goals. Okay, without softwares we can't do anything. Okay, so if there is any software, that means it's a set of programs. So we have two type of softwares. One is system softwares, another is application softwares. Now what is system software? System softwares deals with system programs, and application softwares, that application we are using in our specific task. Okay, so like application softwares are MS Office, Adobe Photoshop. They are only performing a specific task. Okay, so system softwares perform essential operation task. Okay, that helps in operation of the particular application, or performing essential operation that required in running a specific program, like utility programs. Okay, they all come under system software that helps a system to execute a program fully successful. Okay, so application softwares only perform a specific task for a specific user only, like business applications, communication application, multimedia applications, entertainment and educational software. These are application softwares. So computer system components, we have four components of computer system. One is hardware, second is operating system, third is application program, and fourth is users. That means user directly interact with the application program, and that application is handled by operating system and pass it to the hardware, because user only understand the English language, whereas hardware understand the binary language, that means 0 and 1 form. So in for interfacing, for these communication, we require an system. That system is a operating system. Operating system transfer or converted the user language or application program into a low level language that understand by a hardware. Okay, like user directly interact with the compilers, editors, interpreters, system libraries. Okay, so these are the applications. That applications interact with the operating system. Operating system that passes that signal to kernel or hardware, that easily understand by the hardware. Okay, so now what is operating system? An operating system is a software consisting of programs and data that runs on computer and manages computer hardware resources and provide common service for execution of various application softwares. Okay, a program that act as an intermediary between a user of a computer and the computer hardware. Okay, so definition of a computer is, operating system is, operating system act as an interface between the user and the hardware. Okay, because a user cannot write anything in a 0 1 form, and hardware does not understand the English like language. Okay, so make the compatibility, who make the compatibility? Operating system between the user and the hardware. Okay, so application software, spreadsheet, computer games, word processors, database, internet browsing, that are the application software. User interact with these application program, and these application program passes to the system softwares, that is utilities, operating system, and that passes to the hardware like CPU, disk, mouse, printer, all hardwares. So like Unix, Linux, MS Office, MS Windows 2000 server, desktop operating system, MS Windows, NX, Millennium, Mac operating system, DOS, mobile operating system, Palm operating system, Pocket PC. These are the example of operating system. They all act as an interface between the you and the hardware, so that a user can comfortably interact with their application and get a required output. Goal of a operating system. Main goal of operating systems are convenience. Convenience makes a computer more convenient to use. Okay, if we have only command line operating systems or systems that only understand 0 1 language, that not convenient to the user, and user not able to always remember the commands. If you have graphical user interface, then you just only know the image, icons, understand the icons, images that directly interact with the system and easier to remember for user. Efficiency. Operating system also increase the efficiency of system resources and other hardware to be used in an efficient manner. Ability to involve, permit effective development, testing and introduction of new system functions without interfering with services. Convenience, efficiency, ability to evolve. There are various operating system services like program development, program execution, access to input-output devices, control, access to files, system access, communications, error detections like hardware errors, memory errors, input-output device errors, user program errors, fault failures. These all manages and controlled by the operating system. Like resource allocation, how the number of resources are allocated to number of users, that manages and controlled by the operating system. Like if we have only one printer and we have number of user in a networking, then how these printing commands are managed. So these management is done by operating system. Accounting, protection, how the database and their data is protected from unauthorized users, these all responsibility by and services provided by operating system. There are various number of functions of operating system. First is process management. Process management, process means a small task, jobs, the number of modules, they are all known as process. If we have a number of processes or number of jobs executing simultaneously, and how it will execute without any interruption with each other, it's also handled by operating system. Main memory management. Main memory means primary memory. Which data and which type of data is going to store in a main memory and which type of data is required to store in secondary memory. Okay. So next is file management. Where to store the file and how we extract the file, where to come data, extracted data, and where to store that extracted data into the memory. Okay. And how to transfer the data, number of unit of transferring the data, it's also managed by operating system. Input output system management. We have number of input output devices. Whenever we require add some devices and remove some devices, addition or removing the input output devices detected by and controlling by operating system. Secondary memory management. Secondary, whenever we require extra memory space, so we adding secondary memory management like pen drive, disk, tape, and how these devices are managed. It's managed by operating system. Networking, protection system, these are the functions provided by operating system. So, first function is process management. A process is a program in execution. A process needs certain resources including CPU time, memory, file, input output devices to accomplish its task. Okay. So, there are number of steps come under execution of a single process, like a process have to create and wait, then a running stage, and after a running, if they are during running it requires some CPU time or requires some input output device time or file, then it come under some swap out and blocked stage. So, these type of stages are managed by operating system. That means, whenever a process require some input output device, then that process come into input output stage and another process will create and come into running stage. That means, one go in input output device stage, another job or another process come into next stage. Okay. So, in this way equally CPU utilization is increases. The operating system is responsible for the following activities in connection with process management. That means, process creation, deletion, suspension, resumption, provision of mechanism for process synchronization and process communication. Whenever we require two process to communicate with each other, so without any interference with each process, it is also controlled by a operating system. So, these are the management of operating system. That means, how number of processes are executed simultaneously without interfering with each other. In same way or in the same time, CPU utilization is also considered. Whenever one process come in input output device manager, that means CPU time is free? No. At that time second process come into CPU. So, one is an input output, another is CPU time. Okay, that means both processes are busy and on the same time our CPU utilization is also increases. Second is main memory management, that is primary memory management. Memory is a large array of words or bytes, each with its own address. It is a repository of quickly accessible data sharing by the CPU and input output devices. Main memory is a volatile storage device. It loses its content in the case of system failure. Okay. So, sometime our system is going to fail, operating system quickly show a dialog box whether you want to store your data or not. If you store data, then that data is stored in a secondary memory or your disk or some other memory. If data is going to fail, then that means main memory is destroyed. So, how this data is managed in case of failure, so also responsibility of operating system. The operating system is responsible for the following activities in connection with memory management. Keep track of which part of memory is currently being used and by whom. Okay, that means कि whenever essential data requires a main memory only for a temporary execution, that then operating system give a small main memory location for temporary, and after being used then it remove that backup or temporary files from that main memory, so that another task or another job will take over that memory. Decide which processes to load when main memory space became available. Okay. allocate or deallocate memory space as needed. As the processes execution, they needs a or allocate a particular memory. Whenever they finish their execution, operating system must deallocate that memory for another process. File management. A file is a collection of related information defined by its creator. File represent program, both source and other objects and data. The operating system is responsible for the following activities in connection with file management. That means a number of responsibilities managed by the operating system, that activities related with file, like how to create a file, delete a copy, edit, okay, manipulate a file, mapping a file into a secondary storage devices and get data or open a data from a secondary storage devices, file backup on stable storage medium. That all responsibility and transferring of data from one file to another is also operate by operating system. Input output devices management consists of a buffer caching system, a general device driver interface, drivers for specific hardware devices. Like if we enter some sort of devices like a printer, printer is the output device. So whenever attach a printer, we must install their device driver. So here is an responsibility of operating system that intimate us there is no device driver is installed in a computer system. So user come to know that there is no device driver of printer. So some sort of indications and general responsibility of operating system that gives a hint or give us information about how to manage and how to install the required device driver into the system. Secondary memory management. Main memory is a primary memory or primary storage is volatile. Volatile means it cannot store their data permanently and too small to accommodate all data and programs permanently. The computer system must provide secondary storage to back up main memory. And secondary storage devices are permanent storage devices. Most modern computer systems use disk as the principal online storage medium for both programs and data. The operating system is responsible for the following activities in connection with disk management: free space management, storage allocation, disk scheduling. That means how much time should allocate to a particular job for taking any storage for execution their programs. If there is any space is in secondary storage devices and come to execute or transfer some data to the secondary storage, and current process is going to execute in a main memory. Networking. Network, also called distributed system, means interconnection of two or more than two anonymous computers. A distributed system is a collection processors that do not share memory or a clock. Each processor has its own memory. The processor in the system are connected through a communication networks. Okay, we have number of computers and each computers has their own local memory. They are not sharing their each other memories. They have own local memories and they are communication with each other through a communication network like hub, switch, routers. Through these networking devices, they communicate with each other. A distributed system provides user access to various system resources. Access to a shared resources allow, that is computation speed up, increased data availability, enhanced reliability. Okay, in networking we have so much advantages. That means we can share the number of resources with each other if we are using their resources simultaneously. That also increase their speed, increase data availability. That means one data is placed in computer second, and computer 4 required that some sort of data that is available in computer second. Okay. So, through networking we extract that data from computer second easily if there is in networking. Okay. Enhanced reliability, that means if some data is stored in one and another, if one is going to destroy, then another will provide us a particular data also. Protection system. Protection mechanism control access of programs and processes to user and system resources. Protect user from himself, user from other users, system from users. Okay. Protection means controlling of a particular program. Operating system provides protection mechanism must distinguish between authorized or unauthorized user, because some of the operating system provide us a user account system. User account system means a number of users have their own account. That means that person have the account means that is authorized user, and only authorized user can access that particular system data and files. So, protection means distinguish between authorized user and unauthorized users. Specify access control imposed on use. Okay. So, as provide the authorization to number of user, same we provide some sort of accesses or permissions to different number of users, different permissions to different number of users, and according to their permissions they only uses that particular system data. Provide mechanism for enforcement of access control. Security mechanism provide trust in system and privacy. Authentication, certification, encryption. So, these overall all responsibility of the operating system. Okay. Linking and loading. Linking and loading. Linking means we have already studied this linking in C++. Okay, we already have done this linking in C++. Oops. So, linking means linking we have studied. Linking means binding. Binding, there is two type of binding we have already studied. Binding means static binding and dynamic binding. Static binding means we are linking the data at the time of compile, and dynamic binding means we are linking the data at the execution time. So, linking means combining a set of programs including library routines to create a loadable image. Resolve symbol defined within the set, listing symbol needed to be resolved by loader. Okay. So, linking, combining the number of small module to make a exe file. After linking, there is a loading process continue, copying the loadable image into the memory. That means after getting a file, exe file, then responsibility of the loader to transfer that file into a specific memory location, and that memory location is come into with the help of loaders, connecting it with the any other programs already loaded and updating addresses as needed. Like from source code to a process, like in C++ we have designing a single program, firstly writing the program and compiling, and after getting compiling we getting a result. Okay. In background what processes are going on? Linking and loading, firstly compilation, then linking, then loading. These three processes completed our program result. So, first is binding is is the act of connecting names to addresses. Most compiler produce reallocated object code addresses relative to 0. The linker combine multiple objects file into library modules into a single executable file. Addresses also relative to 0. Loaders reads the executable file, allocate memory mapping within file to memory addresses name of dynamic library. Means firstly we write the source program into C or C++ language, and with the help of compiler and interpreter we convert that CC file or C++ file or a C file into an object file, and that object file is converted into .exe file and with the help of other object and static library files. And after getting exe file, that exe file getting into a specific memory location, and how exe file get the memory location with the help of loader, and loader place that exe file into memory with the help of dynamic libraries .dll. So, these three processes completed are a single program execution. Next is types of operating system. We have number of operating systems like batch processing or mainframe systems, single user system, multi user systems, time sharing systems, multitasking operating system, multi-programming, multiprocessor or parallel operating systems, distributed system, clustering system, real-time systems, handheld system. So, one by one we are going to discuss. First is batch processing system. Jobs together with input data are fed into system in a batches. That means we collect some related commands together and make it into a batch, and that complete batch is execute simultaneously. Okay, reduce the setup time by batching similar jobs. Okay, like we have similar jobs and executing one by one. Rather than executing one by one, we make a batch of that particular related or similar jobs, and a single batch is executed only one time. The jobs are then run one after another. No job can be started until previous job is completed. Okay. Automatic job sequencing, automatic transferring control from one job to another. Time sharing systems. Time sharing system means each user is given a time slice to interact with the CPU. Okay, time sharing system is required when we are doing multitasking or multi-programming. In multitasking or multi-programming, what we are doing? We are running number of tasks simultaneously, and how these tasks are going to execute? These tasks are only executing with the help of time sharing systems. The size of the time slice will depend on the system. Each user is served in sequence. Okay, each job is served one by one, not one come and third come and then six come. No, in sequentially each job getting their time, and this time is allotted by the operating system according to their schedulers. Third is multi-programming. In multi-programming, operating systems processes more than one application at one time. That means more than one applications, like if we are doing browser assessing, another we are listening to some songs and writing some computer program or C program. So, at a single time we are performing 2 or 3 functions. So, these functions are executing without any interruption with each other with the help of operating system. Operating system manages their execution. 2 or more programs store in a memory at the same time. at different memory location, not the same memory location, different memory location. Multitasking operating system, it is the extension of multi-programming. The concept of multitasking is quite similar to multi-programming, but difference is that switching between jobs occurring so frequently that the user can interact with each program while it is running. Multiprocessor or parallel systems. Multiprocessor systems with more than on CPU in close